Good afternoon, sir and classmates. I am Janet Payadon, taking up Masters of Arts in General Science. Today, I am going to present to you my research topic, Determinants of Effective Home-Based Science Experiments under the Distance Learning. For the background of the study, laboratory work has been an essential part of science education. Hands-on experiments provide a real-life application of the lessons and concretize students' conceptual understanding. Laboratory practices are widely used in the teaching of scientific concepts in all science fields, for they provide opportunities for students' active learning, reinforcement of concepts taught via lectures, the acquisition and development of experiential skills, scientific literacy, and collaborative learning skills, according to Luneta 2004 as cited by USAP 2021. Laboratory experiments in science lessons offer advantages to the students by providing the permanence of the learned subjects and by supporting the development of science process skills, thereby enabling them to learn through experience and producing tangible outcomes from experiments, according to Duban 2019. Subsequently, the spread of coronavirus disease in March 2020 has forced the Philippines and many countries to declare lockdowns and quarantines. This also includes the closing of schools and an abrupt shift from face-to-face to remote learning, according to Pacifico 2021. As a result, the conduct of laboratory experiments, especially to STEM-related subjects, have become challenging due to the limitations caused by the pandemic. Despite the limitations, teachers continually find ways to integrate the experimentation in the remote and online classes, according to Sanchez 2021. To address such concern, Sanchez 2021 conducted home-based laboratory experiments as one way to not totally discount experimentation for any mode of learning. Moreover, home-based experiments were used which are cost-effective because the materials are based on common households, according to Pacifico 2021. Based from the researches on home-based science experiments, it was proven effective because, first, it is an effective method for reinforcing the learning objectives within a basic medical science curriculum. Second, students reported a good learning experience, performed well in their examinations, and had an overall favorable impressions of this approach. Third, home-based science experiments are effective, a possible and easy alternative that can be considered to improve the teaching learning process. And lastly, it also resulted in a significant difference in intrinsic goal orientation, critical thinking, metacognition, and peer learning capabilities of students, according to Owolabi, Robledo, and Pacifico 2021. Since it was proven effective for my research gap, so far, however, there has been little to no discussion about the factors or indicators that contribute to effective home-based science experiments. As such, this paper aims to find out the determinants of effective home-based science experiments. This is the research paradigm. Input, we have effective home-based science experiments. For the process, we have survey on determinants. And the output, first, we have the common indicators of perceived effective home-based science experiments. Second, the reliable indicators of perceived effective home-based science experiments. And lastly, the relationship of each identified factor to the perceived effectiveness of effective home-based science experiment. Statement of the problem. The main questions or issues addressed in this paper are, number one, what are the most common indicators of perceived effective home-based science experiments? Number two, how do certain factors relate to the perceived effectiveness of effective home-based science experiments? And number three, Which of these factors are reliable determinants of perceived effective home-based science experiments? For the methodology, we have the research design. This research will use descriptive survey research design to address the determinants of effective home-based science experiments under distance learning. Descriptive research will be utilized because it describes a situation or phenomenon being studied. It focuses on answering the what and how questions of the research problem. For the population and locale of the study, respondents of this research will be students and science teachers in the private schools in Baguio City who are applying home-based science experiments in their science subjects. Random sampling method will be applied to identify the population of the study. For the data gathering procedure, the researcher will seek or ask permission from the school principal of the respondents to whom the survey will be conducted. After that, the survey will be administered to the respondents through Google Forms due to the type of learning that we have right now. For the instrument, the researcher will use a survey questionnaire to gather data to answer the problem. To identify the most common indicators of effective home-based science experiments, a pre-survey will be administered. From the pre-survey, the researcher will craft the questions, and the researcher will seek the help from experts in laboratory experiments for the validation of the questionnaire. The questionnaire will also undergo validity and reliability tests. For the treatment of data, the gathered data from the respondents will be tabulated and tallied. The weighted mean will be applied. A 4-point Likert scale will be utilized to find out the most common indicators of perceived effective home-based science experiments. And lastly, to find out how certain factors relate to the perceived effectiveness of effective home-based science experiments, weighted mean and standard deviation will be used. That's all for my research, and thank you for listening. Once again, good afternoon.